Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This is the Creative Collaboration Show with Chuck Anderson, and I am here with episode number 2, and I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 most important and profitable collaborations that I have done in my business. And it's my goal with this episode to share with you some of the successes. And in future episodes, we'll probably share some of the failures as well and what we've learned from that. But really, this episode is all about inspiration. It's all about giving you some ideas of how you can collaborate with others in your business. And you see, when I first started my business, I was what I describe as a chronic do-it-yourselfer. I did everything myself. And, it's something that I learned at a very, very young age, watching my father and my grandfather run their farms in southern Alberta, Canada here. And what did I see? I saw them doing it themselves. And there was a saying, and maybe you've heard this saying, that if you want a job done right, you need to do it yourself. And, I heard that over and over and over again in my upbringing. And it was something that I really had to overcome in my business. In fact, it really took me the first 10 years to really figure out that I was doing too much myself and I needed to allow others in and to collaborate better. And some of those early collaborations, some of those early partnerships, I think would have ultimately been more successful had I figured that out a little earlier, because collaborating and partnering, or even delegating for that matter, did not come naturally to me. It was definitely a struggle. And, if that sounds like you and you're working on something right now where you're doing it all yourself and trying to overcome some challenges or solve problems or get more customers or grow your business in a bigger way, and you're doing it all yourself, and maybe even doing jobs that you were not meant to do or that are not really in your zone of genius or your natural skill set, and you're trying to do things that really would be done faster and easier by someone else. And this is where now what I'm hoping that you'll do is think about, okay, instead of what do I need to do to solve this problem or get more customers or whatever it is you're trying to do in your business, I'd like you to reframe that question. And what if you reframe that question, instead of how do I solve this problem, is who could help me solve this problem? Who could help me solve this problem? And that who can come in many different forms. It could come from someone that you hire as an employee or a contractor or a freelancer to help you to do that thing. It could also be a collaborator. Maybe that is something that you need to be doing on an ongoing basis in your business, and you meet somebody who is already that part of that thing that you're doing. It's not within your zone of genius, but it's in someone else's. And could you come together to collaborate or partner in such a way where now that is being handled, freeing you up to spend more time in your zone of genius and more time in that area that you are meant to do, and really focusing on your unique abilities. And instead of trying to get stronger where you're weak, is, focus on your strengths, be super productive in the areas where you're strong, and then to partner with other people who are strong in the areas where you are not. And you're going to get so much done faster and so much easier. And, I wish someone would have just grabbed me by the shoulders and just shook me, 27 years ago when I started my first business. And, it took me a good 10 years to really overcome and to grow into the person I needed to be open to collaborations and partnerships and to successfully maintain them. And, even going back to my very first business, I did have a collaboration. I did have a partnership, but it ultimately failed mainly because of my inability to really work with another person who thought differently than me and valued things differently than me. And it took a while to really figure that out. And that was the personal growth side of this, right? And so one of the things that I'm very grateful for in my journey is that I have had some very successful collaborations, some acquisitions, and some exits, which I would consider to be very, very successful. But I want to share with you my top 5 collaborations, the ones I'm most proud of, the ones that they're definitely a part of my story that I love to share, especially to inspire. And, in future episodes, we'll talk about some of the failures as well and some of the things you can learn from that. But today is all about the wins, all about the successes. And my goal here is to give you some frameworks and some ideas on how you can put together your own collaboration, your own partnership idea. Okay. So in not any particular order, I'm going to go ahead and share with these. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. They are in a particular order. I'm going to start with my favorite ones first. And so instead of a countdown, this is going to be a count up. I'm going to start with my favorite one, the one I'm the most proud of. And that is my collaboration with the Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminars here in Canada. And so I had the good fortune of meeting Robert Kiyosaki and working with the seminars here in Canada, where the Rich Dad seminars traveled all across Canada to all of the major cities. And a fellow by the name of Darren Weeks, who was trained by Robert as a facilitator, as a workshop leader for the seminars. And Darren was actually part of a facilitation program that Robert had taught. And out of all of the people that participated in that program, Darren was the one who probably did the most with it. And he created an amazing business here in Canada that brought Robert here numerous times to speak to audiences who had read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, when that seminar first came to where I am here in Vancouver, that first event had less than 20 people in it. I mean, fast forward, there was events that had thousands of people in it, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, big events. But the first one had less than 20 people in it. And the timing really couldn't be better. I had read an ad in the newspaper, and yes, it was in the newspaper. We still had newspapers back then. And I had read this ad in the newspaper for the Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminar. And I had just finished reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I was really excited to go and try this out. So I went to the event, and it was around about the time that I was creating a new business. I was in the process of writing a new course on how to build income through a digital business, specifically through affiliate marketing and building a website. And so I was in the process of writing this course, and it was during this workshop that the most important thing happened. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go to workshops, usually the default mindset that I have about going to a workshop is to learn. I want to get all the information. So, of course, I made copious amounts of notes, and I made lots of notes and got great ideas, and I wrote them all down. But, I don't remember much about what I wrote down on those pieces of paper. And who knows if I even reviewed those notes afterwards. I mean, if you're good at reviewing your notes after a workshop, good for you. I've made lots of notes, and I got stacks of notebooks that I've made lots of notes in these events, and never look at those notes again. But the most important thing that I got out of attending that workshop was a relationship with the organizer. And like I said, a man by the name of Darren Weeks. And after I hung around after the event and helped him clean up and helped him put the chairs away and pack up his stuff. And through that, we got into conversation a little bit more about who he was, and sharing with him who I was and what I was working on. the timing couldn't be better because he was planning another event where he was planning on bringing in experts to share expertise in their particular area. And it just so happens I was earning really good streams of passive income at that time through my affiliate marketing websites, and I, like I said, was building a course around that. And he invited me to two things. He's like, based on that conversation, he's like, well, I'm looking for guest speakers for this event. Do you think you could come and share that with my audience? And I hadn't done a whole lot of public speaking at that time. In fact, I was very, very, very fearful of public speaking. I had a lot to overcome with that, but instinct kicked in and I said, well, yeah, I can come and talk to your audience. Sure, I'll do that. Secretly freaking out inside because I was very scared of public speaking. So, but unfortunately the event was not right away. So I had some time to prepare. So I said yes to that. The second thing that he asked, he said, oh, I'm putting together an audio program where I interview experts and they share their best strategies for developing passive income. Would you like to be part of that audio program? And again, instinct kicked in and I just said, yeah, sure, I'd love to do that. And so about a month later, I flew out to Edmonton and where he was holding the event. And I spoke to his audience about how I had created passive income online through affiliate marketing and a simple website. And then the next day went into the studio and recorded this audio program, which became part of his signature product that he sold at all of his events. And little did I know what was about to happen when I did that. And it started off with that simple idea, that invitation to collaborate, where instinct kicked in and I said yes. I really didn't have a plan for it. I really didn't know where it could go, but I know that it felt right. I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. So I spoke at that event and I became part of that audio program. And then part of promoting that audio program and selling it to future workshops is I was invited to come and speak at all of the other events. And not only to help promote that audio program, but I was able to sell and market my course as well, which I had just finished writing. And so for the next 3 years, I was able to travel with those seminars and attend all of those events as a guest speaker, sharing with the audience my stories of how I earned passive income, building simple websites. I sold my course, helped Darren sell his audio program, and it was a very, very profitable relationship. And had the great pleasure of meeting Robert Kiyosaki on numerous events and some of his partners and some of his advisors, which created a whole other tangent of business ideas and collaborations and partnerships that I didn't even know that were possible. I didn't even know that I wanted to do those things really, but it got me in front of what we call critical deal flow. And sometimes you don't even know what you're looking for until you meet the person who can really help you or maybe spark that idea. Okay. And so 3 amazing years of collaborating with the Rich Dad seminars. So that's the one that I'm certainly the most proud of, was very, very impactful for me. Now, on to number 2, and that second collaboration and partnership, which is still going today. We're now into our 11th year. And this is my partnership with a man named by the name of Derek Gale. He is the CEO of Ignited Academy, as well as a $25 million health company called Leading Edge Health. He's the CEO of that company as well, and the host of the Project Ignite podcast. And it was about 11 years ago where I was meeting with Derek for lunch. And of course, he was telling me all about this new course that he had launched. And he had just launched this program where he was teaching people how to start and grow their very first online digital business. And so he was telling me all about the things that he taught in that program. And we'd known each other from before. We had worked together and collaborated before in a company called Internet Marketing Center, which was one of the very first companies that were teaching internet marketing strategies, founded by the late Corey Rudel. And it was something that, I had the good pleasure of being part of. And, post Internet Marketing Center, Derek now was teaching this new program. And I asked him, I said, okay, well, you have this course. Do you also have a coaching and mentoring program? And he's like, nah, I don't really want to have a coaching mentoring program. We had that before at Internet Marketing Center. And, as much as it was a profit center for us, it was also a headache. And it was something that he kind of saw as something that was a difficult thing to do. And he's like, I just want to keep my business simple. I just want to sell the course and make money doing the course and all of that. And I said to him, well, Derek, you've got the course, and I know you're not terribly interested in doing the coaching program, but what if one of two scenarios would work for you? One is you just send me referrals and I'll coach them in my coaching program, and I'll take on all the risk for that. Or we even bring my coaching program in and integrate it into your program. And so he thought about it and it sounded like a good idea. It's like, well, maybe we can do that, but ultimately I think not right now. So then we had lunch the next month, and I brought it up again. And it actually took a few times of recommending this idea. In fact, I do believe he said no to me 7 times, but we still kept meeting up. We still kept in touch, and we still kept meeting up for lunch. And it was around that 7th time where I guess now the timing was right for him, where he's like, that coaching idea that bringing up, tell me more about that. How can we do that? And so that led to one of the most profitable collaborations that I think I've ever done. It's generated well over $1 million for us both in additional income over and above what we were already earning from our respective businesses. So imagine coming together in a partnership and earning an extra $1 million. And so that's really what this collaboration with Derek was all about. He had the course, I had a coaching program. We were able to do a test launch of that. It was wildly successful in its first month and is still going today, 11 years later. And not only that, but now I've come back and I've actually contributed lessons and course modules to his program. And, so now integrated that it's just such an obvious collaboration. And today, I think even more potential for growth than even before. So that has been an amazing partnership. And the cool thing is, and for all of you coaches and consultants, if that's your business model, there has been no greater opportunity to get a stream of clients without advertising, without a website, without doing countless social media posts, all of that. I mean, I do nothing like that at all. I mean, I've contributed some lesson modules to the program. I contribute to a Q&A webinar that we do every 2 weeks. And, it doesn't really take a whole lot of time and effort to maintain now that is in place. And it has generated a steady stream of clients in my business for 11 years now without any of that. We don't have a website. We don't have a social media presence. We do not have even email marketing or any of that. I don't have to beg clients. It's all built in, and it happens so automatically that that's really what has created this great opportunity for profit for both Derek and I. And so this is something I call an integration deal. So the collaboration here was a product creation and integration. And so if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're someone who, or let's say you're looking for customers for your business, maybe you could also collaborate with someone who has produced a course or a program and you don't do what they do and they don't do what you do, but you could come together and create something new and amazing that, can be a great and profitable business for you both. And so that's number two. My third most profitable, and I think a collaboration that I'm most excited about, again, a current collaboration that is ongoing and continually growing, is my collaboration with Michelle Abraham. Now, Michelle Abraham is the founder of Amplify You, which is a podcast fulfillment agency. So if you have a podcast and you're looking to just record the episodes, but you don't really want the hard work of editing a podcast and publishing a podcast, and she helps me with my podcast a lot, is Michelle. You want to just give it to Michelle. You want to give it to her and her team, and they just publish everything. Amazing. Now, Michelle was an attendee at a workshop that I was presenting a number of years ago. And not only was she one of the participants in my workshop, her daughter was actually the youngest participant that I ever had in any of my workshops, at being only 2 weeks old. And it was amazing because I was so shocked that Michelle showed up for this workshop, having only given birth 2 weeks prior. But there she was with a 2-week-old baby in our workshop. And it was an amazing experience. We've been friends ever since. And she does amazing work with the podcast. But there came an opportunity where I was a founder and an investor in another business called Blissful Parenting. And Blissful Parenting is a company where we produce parenting courses. What we do is we bring in experts and we record courses with them, and we promote and market these courses. And we wanted to have a podcast as a main marketing channel for those courses, but I really didn't see myself as the host of that show. In fact, I would say our audience in Blissful Parenting is 90% moms, maybe even higher than that, but at least 90% moms. And so I didn't really feel like I should be the host of the show. And I really wanted it to be a mom. And so it just so happens that some of Michelle's clients were also parenting podcasters. And so we came up with the idea of her coming onto the show as the host and interviewing some of her clients, which also happen to be parenting podcasters, and doing some of the initial episodes that way. Well, it turned out to be so awesome and so much fun and really beneficial to her business. So it was really win-win. It gave her a way to promote her clients through another channel. So for her to be able to go and say to her clients, hey, I can get you interviewed on the Blissful Parenting podcast. And by the way, I'm the host. So she was able to do that. And it was a win for me because now I have a podcast to help to promote our business, but I don't have to be the host. In fact, the only thing that I do, and I only spend about 10 minutes per episode now because Michelle does the interview, my team does the editing. I just do the final approval on the episodes before it gets published. And that's really it. So, I mean, if you're looking for a way to leverage the power of podcasting without even being the host, what if you could partner with a host? What if they could be the host of your show and you don't even need to be there? Right? So we're now into what are our 70th episode this week. And I have really only been on 2 or 3 of them. And the rest of them have all been completely hands-off for me. So could you partner with someone who could be the host of your show so that you could leverage the power of podcasting? So maybe that's a collaboration idea for your business. Okay. So that was number 3. Number 4 is Jim and Cindy Padilla. So Jim Padilla and Cindy Padilla are the founders of Gain the Edge. And Gain the Edge is an agency. They're an outsourced sales agency where, let's say you want to have a sales team to sell your program or sell your product, and you don't want to build a sales team of your own, or maybe you don't even know how to. Well, you can go to Jim and Cindy at Gain the Edge and you can learn how to build a sales team, or even better yet, they'll build a team for you and even manage that team. So all you have to do is send your leads over to them, they sell them and pay them a commission, and you keep the rest. It's a really great business model. They've been launch support for many of the biggest product launches, especially in the coaching industry. So, you know, these are amazing people who are really, really skilled at what they do. Now, this is a collaboration that was pretty cool. This is something I call a service swap. So let's say you need a service in your business, and you need this missing piece. So in this case, it was a sales team and sales help. And let's say they also need what you do. And so in my case here, it was marketing strategy. So as a former marketing officer and marketing director, I have all the templates, all the skills, all the strategies that I needed to help them to build a marketing strategy. So this is a match that was meant to be. So they had the sales team resources, I had the marketing resources that they needed. We were able to come together and make a deal where I was able to help them with marketing and their overarching strategy, and they were able to give us help with building our sales team and our sales resources. So great partnership. It was a great and timely idea because it was something they needed. It was something I needed. We were both good at it. And so instead of paying each other, we just traded services. So is that something you could do? Could you find someone who is skilled at something you need in your business, and they also need what you do with your unique abilities, and could you just simply trade services? So now you get what you need from them and they get what they need from you. And so service swaps, it's one of my favorite collaboration ideas, and I'm always looking for ways to do that. I have lots of service swap ideas and collaborations that I have done in the past. So these are things that you can consider. And so that's number 4. And then number 5. And, you know, this one here can get a little emotional. It was really my first and most profound collaboration and partnership. And there's a part of me that wishes that it had lasted longer than it did, and that had gone further than it did. And one of the interesting things about this is that it was really my first crack at collaboration and business partnership. And I co-owned a business with a man by the name of James Martell. And James Martell sadly passed away a few years ago at a very young age. But he was the author of a book called The Affiliate Marketer's Handbook. And he had the book, he had courses and boot camps that would teach affiliate marketers how to be successful selling other people's products through affiliate programs. And he had also developed software to help with that as well. And James and I met very, very early in my business career. And, you know, it had already been, I think, his second or third business. So he already had some experience under his belt, and a really great marketer. I was very technical at that time. I was doing software programming. I was doing development. And at that time, it was a really good partnership. Now, today, I've kind of left technology behind and focus on marketing. And I really wouldn't be the marketer I am today if it wasn't for James and his inspiration and the collaboration and partnership that we had together. And two things that I wish that he was still here, for sure. He was a good friend of mine. And the second thing is that I wish that partnership had lasted longer. And I learned so much from that in terms of what to do and what not to do in a partnership. And fortunately, that partnership did come to an end. It was one of, in another episode, I'll talk about some of my most successful and profitable exits from partnerships, where you're able to cash out and actually make some money. And, you know, my partnership with James was my very first story with such an exit. And so we were able to part as friends. It was profitable still for both of us. And so really, I don't look at the ending of that partnership as a failure, although I really did enjoy working with him and I really did enjoy his company. And, I really enjoyed him as a human being and I wish that he was still here. But, I can't be anything but grateful for the opportunity to work with him. And, we did so many collaborations. We built a business together. We developed software together. We developed content together. We did some of the very first affiliate marketing workshops here in Vancouver together and inspired many people to go on and have very successful digital businesses or affiliate marketing careers. And so, this whole idea of partnership and collaboration, I think, really was introduced to me by James. And, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation today if it was not for him and his contribution to my life and to my business and the things he inspired me to do. So very, very grateful for that partnership and that collaboration. So here we have it. Those were my top 5. Number 1 was that partnership with Rich Dad Seminars here in Canada. Number 2 with Derek Gale of Ignited Academy and the Project Ignite podcast. Number 3, Michelle Haberham of Amplify You podcasting agency. And she's the host of my podcast, my Blissful Parenting podcast, where I don't even have to do anything in that show. Jim and Cindy Padilla of Gain the Edge, where we were able to do a service swap. And of course, James Martell, who was my very first partnership collaboration and able to really get me started on that path. And so very, very grateful for that. So hopefully these ideas inspire you. And so what I encourage you to do now is think about, what is that thing that you're missing in your business? What is that thing that you could bring in that would make all the difference? What is that thing that you could, partner with or collaborate with or acquire that would help your business grow or solve the problem that you've been trying to solve or remove an obstacle to potentially quantum leap type of growth? And so look for those opportunities. And if you need ideas and if you're not sure, or if you're even just looking for someone, go ahead and contact me. You can find me at collaboratorsunite.com and submit a message to me and let me know what you're looking for. Chances are I know somebody who can do the thing that you need really, really easily, and I can just simply get you connected. I would love to make an introduction to somebody who could really help you with the next piece of the puzzle in your business. So my parting words of advice here on this episode is, look, you do not have to do this alone. You can do a great and amazing things. And in fact, you can do even bigger and better things if you only find someone to collaborate with, if you find someone to partner with. And so if you can do that, then you both win. What is that win-win that you can bring to your business and to their business so that together you can accomplish more than if you were doing it individually? Be open to those collaborations, be open to those partnerships, and intentionally go looking for them. And until next time, I highly encourage you to come back and listen to the next episode where I'm going to be sharing even more great strategies. And we've got some really great interviews coming up as well. And until the next episode, go out there, build and grow your business, and be awesome.